Monaco certainly delivered on the glitz and glamour, but it's time that we get back to the more statistical side of things as Formula One heads to Spain for round 7 of the 2023 season. This track is known well by all of the teams and will be used as a testing ground for upgrades up and down the grid, so let's dive headfirst into my predictions, and of course make sure that you stick around until the end for my Podium 3 prediction. The Spanish Grand Prix will be a dramatic change to what we saw in Monaco. Gone are the yachts and hillside villas, and in come gravel traps and grandstands. The 2023 Spanish Grand Prix will see the drivers complete 66 laps of the 4.657-kilometer circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya. The circuit was actually built as part of the 1992 Barcelona Olympics development program, which is weird as Formula One is nowhere near an Olympic sport. However, the track has been adapted for this season back to its original layout that we saw in the first Barcelona Grand Prix back in 1991. Many complained about the final sector due to that chicane just before the final corner leading to the pit straight. Well, that chicane has now been removed, giving the drivers a lot more momentum going into the final corner and hopefully allowing for more wheel-to-wheel battles down towards turn 1, which will be the main overtaking opportunity, assisted by one of the two DRS zones. As well as allowing for more overtaking, this change will also lead to higher tyre degradation as the drivers will be carrying more speed around the circuit, already filled with challenging high-speed corners. The tyre degradation in Spain has always been high due to the high temperatures, and we will once again see Pirelli opting to bring their hardest compounds of tyres, so strategy will be crucial come Sunday. We may even see some teams opt for a two-stop strategy, which will be a welcome change to the Australian Alex Albon approach, which we've seen from many teams this season. One thing that could force the teams into a tyre change is the weather, as once again the early forecast is predicting there to be rain on race day. We all saw what a game changer the weather was in Monaco last weekend, and with the opportunity of on-track overtaking added into the mix in Spain too, a stint on the intermediate tyres really could mix things up in the standings. And speaking of the standings, let's delve into my predictions. My possible driver of the day, I know that Mercedes are bringing another big upgrade package that could help them close the gap to the rest of the field straight away, or could need tweaking before they're truly competitive, but I have a good feeling about George Russell. Let's not forget that he was on the podium last year in Spain, even if it was almost 30 seconds behind Max Verstappen, who was unable to use DRS, but the main reason I have him in here as my driver of the day is because he will be very disappointed about his spin in Monaco, which cost him a shot at a podium, and will be desperate to make it up to the team in Spain. Along with that, I think George will benefit, in a similar way to Max Verstappen actually, from the fact that the next few races are more traditional circuits. This year has started with a lot of street circuits or adapted car park circuits, which I don't think is a bad thing. In particular, drivers like Sergio Perez thrive under those conditions, but now we have a stretch of 8 races until we hit Singapore at traditional purpose-built racetracks, which again, some drivers prefer and thrive at. Looking at George Russell's 2022 results, there isn't much variance as he was basically always in the top 5, but he did perform marginally better at traditional tracks compared to street circuits, though that may just be down to the fact that he did win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Best team performance, I'm going to throw in, I could go Haas or Alfa Romeo here. I'm going to go with Haas. My thought process is more other teams will struggle and therefore allow the Haas boys the opportunity to capitalize on that. I'm just thinking like their main competitors, so Alpine, McLaren and AlphaTauri all have weaknesses that will be exposed in Spain. Like Alpine, for instance, have struggled with stability through high-speed corners at times this season, even though their overall package really has started clicking together in recent races. McLaren still seem to be lacking straight-line top speed because of how drag-heavy that MCL60 is, and AlphaTauri have also struggled in a straight line compared to the Ferrari-powered teams. Am I expecting Haas to be comfortably in the top 10? No. But realistically, there's only ever 2 or 3 spots available in the top 10, and they're usually taken by Alpine, but I think they will be more competitive this weekend, and maybe, just maybe, have a few battles with those other midfield cars. I think if they can qualify well, which they should be able to, considering where Nico was able to put his car earlier in the season, then anything is possible come Sunday. I don't want to be the one to throw a misery compiler onto Ferrari fans, but this weekend is not looking good for the Tifosi. Ferrari were going to have to rely on upgrades if they wanted to leave Barcelona with a good result, because the Ferrari car is the weakest among the top 4 in terms of those medium to high speed corners, because they really lack downforce compared to Mercedes and Aston Martin. But now I've seen the news that Ferrari are not bringing the anticipated upgrade to its front suspension. This means that cornering will still be a problem, but so will tyre deg. The 2023 Ferrari has again shown what that package can do on fresh tyres in qualifying is absolutely phenomenal, but has also shown how quickly it can shred through a set of hard tyres come Sunday. The bodywork upgrades that are planning to come this weekend should help with that a little bit and maybe finally solve the problem that they do have with keeping the tyres in that optimal window for extended periods in the race. But as I touched upon before, Spain is pretty heavy on tyres as it is. Moving on to my podium predictions, and in third place I'm going to go for Fernando Alonso. He has been on the podium in almost every race this season, and I can't see that stopping anytime soon. The Aston Martin package seems well suited to Spain. Alright, it's not the best in high-speed corners, but I think it will make up for that in its ability to hold onto those tyres in races. Like, think back to Bahrain and how Alonso looked so much fresher at the end than everybody else. Second place has to be Sergio Perez. It was an absolute nightmare weekend for the Mexican in Monaco, but surely he'll bounce back in Spain. Even if he does mess up qualifying again, which I don't think will happen, he will at least be able to overtake in Spain rather than smashing into the back of everyone. With the removal of the chicane and the massive DRS advantage that the Red Bull car has, the RB19 will be almost impossible to keep behind into turn 1. Which is why, as cliche as it is, I think Max Verstappen will absolutely dominate this weekend in Spain. We saw last year, even with a trip through the gravel, multiple outbursts over the radio, and a broken DRS, he was able to win really comfortably. It was the start of that turning point from Ferrari are in this to, oh, Max and Red Bull are just a different beast, which has rolled into this year too. I mentioned before that we have 8 traditional tracks in a row coming up. And is it crazy to say that he could win all 8 of those, matching Vettel's 9 in a row record? Last but not least, a crazy prediction for you. I'm going to go with, after all the hype that getting rid of that final chicane has brought to this year's Spanish Grand Prix, we will see somebody crash out on that final corner, and undoubtedly the conversation around if that corner is now too unsafe will be had. As with everything in Formula 1, all good changes come with people who hate them, because people don't like change. With that big change to the track and also some big changes to the cars coming this weekend in Spain, this weekend is a real opportunity for a lot of drivers to just go all in. I would love to know your predictions for the Spanish Grand Prix in the comments down below, and of course I will be live for qualifying and the race this weekend, so make sure you're subscribed because I can't wait for this Spanish Grand Prix weekend. I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to see you then.